Welcome to an all-new episode of Looks and Wisdom Sundays with me, Oluchi B. Hey guys, and welcome to another exciting episode of Looks and Wisdom Sundays with me, Oluchi B. Please say the B, aka the elusive pundit. Honey, how are you feeling? How are you feeling at the back?
We good. We good.
We are doing this episode lastminute.com. Utata couldn't transport outside, so
Hello.
we're gonna try to finish this as soon as possible. How am I feeling? Chami, we were just talking about this just now. We are under stress. Actually, even last week we were talking about how we're under pressure, but we continue to still be in the frying pan.
Like, hello.
The goat over there almost got kicked out of school. I'm here being pushed under the bus. But we will survive and we will move through all the dark parts. I believe that. I believe every time there's a challenge in my life, it's leading me to greater waters. We will always move through things. So I don't want to make this long. October, there's a lot of awareness going on. I think I said this last week. Breast cancer awareness, which we are going to be covering next week. Menopause awareness, which is what we are covering today. And then we did drug and alcohol awareness the first week of October. And then last week we did mental health awareness, depression, and a little bit of anxiety. So I'm happy today because we're going to be covering one of my favorite human beings in the world, Miss Connie Madala. So Connie is a former flight attendant, come writer and menopause advocate. I interviewed her in my channel, so I'm going to be referencing that episode. I mean, hello, why must I struggle when I've already got the research done? So I'm going to be referencing that episode. I'm also going to link it down below on the comment section for you guys in case you want to watch that. We are going to be talking about menopause in this episode. So without further ado, let's get into the definition of what menopause is. We will get to Connie's story later on. You know how we do. So the definition of menopause, according to menopause.com, refers to a time when a woman stops having periods or can no longer fall pregnant naturally. We are then going to look at the 3 different tiers of menopause. So the first type of menopause is called the premenopause. So this is a menopause that happens when you start having menopause-like symptoms before the age of 45. This is called premenopause, premature menopause, or early menopause, and this can happen to any woman at any given time. It can happen in your teenage years, it can happen in your preteens, and can happen when you are 21, 25, 35, up until you get to the age of 45, because official menopause is only supposed to start at the age of 45. So if you have menopause-like symptoms before the age of 45, it means that you are suffering from premenopause. Some women actually have premenopause without realizing it because the period didn't stop indefinitely. So if you are a woman below the age of 45 and you have irregular periods and some of the symptoms we're going to get to later on, you might be suffering from early menopause. The second type of menopause is called surgical menopause, which happens when you've had a hysterectomy, which is an operation that removes your womb. So if they remove your womb, that means you can't have a period or give birth naturally. So this automatically then puts you into a surgical menopause. And this can happen to any woman who has had their womb removed at any age. The third type of menopause is called a perimenopause. So this is like a slow burn menopause where you start early. You might also start experiencing some of the symptoms of someone who is going through menopause We're going to get to the symptoms later and also talk about it because Xoli, the woman we are talking about today, actually suffered from this type of menopause. But because she was not 45 or at the age that menopause is supposed to officially start, she didn't put one and one together that, oh, this is actually menopause. It's called perimenopause. It's the slow burn menopause where the symptoms of menopause trickle into your life, and this period can be a couple of months or a couple of years until you eventually reach the menopause stage. The last menopause is the actual menopause where you don't have a period consistently for more than 12 months. And then after the 12 consecutive months of you not having a period, you are then deemed post-menopause. But post and actual menopause is the same thing. You just now can be officiated as a woman who is menopausal. So the symptoms of menopause, the hot flashes, aches and pains, bladder problems, trouble sleeping, psychological symptoms such as mood swings, anxiety, and brain fog. So the symptoms were actually separated into perimenopause and menopause. So menopause is very, very simple. You don't have your period for a whole year. And then perimenopause symptoms are hot flashes, aches and pains, bladder problems, trouble sleeping, anxiety, psychological problems like mood swings, anxiety, and brain fog. It's so crazy because I was thinking we can't even insert ourselves into this episode because we don't have.
Hello. Especially me.
Exactly. So you can't be like, this is our example. We don't have any examples of our own. And then getting into Xoli's story, hello. So the Queen wrote a book called The Perimenopausal Globetrotter. And again, guys, go get the book for yourselves. The Queen took a whole year writing this book and getting all of this information for you here. She tells her own story also beautifully. The book is available directly from her and on all major book retailers. So just summarizing for us what Xoli's story is about. So Xoli was, before the whole menopause thing started happening, she was actually a flight attendant, hence the Globetrotter, traveling everywhere, every time. And then in her early 30s, she started experiencing some symptoms, including brain fog, including tiredness, including aches, including hot flashes. But then she wasn't sure because she was viewing the symptoms in isolation, like, and then she said she used to make a lot of excuses because of her job, like, oh, maybe I'm tired because of the time zone, or maybe I have brain fog because I'm forgetful, or maybe I'm just have back pains because I've been standing up a lot, or maybe because I have bladder problems because I keep like my pee in for a long period of time. So she started having her symptoms early 30s, and because menopause is not supposed to be like something that happens to people at that age, she couldn't have thought that she might have menopause. And then this continued for elongated periods of time, couple of months, couple of years, where she kept experiencing these constant symptoms. And then it started depressing her because she started not feeling confident in her job, because I mean you have to be on your feet as like a flight attendant. She was forgetful. She said she would be serving a customer and they'd be like, oh, before shake in, and then the client would be like, shake in, and then she would forget and give the client beef. And then she started questioning herself and doubting herself, and then she started isolating herself, not wanting to go out, not wanting to be her friends, and started experiencing those depression-like symptoms. And then they started affecting her life, her social life, her family life, and relationships with everybody around her. And then when she was called up in her house, not wanting to do anything, she started Googling the symptoms that she was experiencing: hot flashes, brain fog, um, like tiredness, and all of these symptoms. And then WebMD, which you shouldn't trust, you should always get a second opinion. according to me, said that she might be menopausal. And then the girl was like, hello, I'm only like 33. There's no way I'm menopausal. But she always says that because at the time she had isolated herself so much and her life was just full of depression and misery, the fact that she got some form of illness that she might be suffering from actually saved her, because she said after she figured out that she might be menopausal, she was like, at least it's something that can be treated or can be managed. And then she decided that she's going to go consult an actual doctor, and then she was trying to see a menopause specialist, and then they were not available for the next 3 months. She decided then to try her trusted gynae, and then she went to her gynecologist, and then the gynae was like, yeah, it's true, you are menopausal, but we don't call it menopause, we call it perimenopause, because you haven't gotten to the stage where your period doesn't happen for 12 consecutive months, like we said. And she was very happy about the official diagnosis, and then she started her hormone balancing treatment, which is called HRT. And then she got on that, and then she started feeling good and started feeling better about herself. And then she started looking for other people who might be experiencing what she was experiencing. And she did say that it wasn't a lot of people, but we love a positive queen. She said, because there are no people talking about this perimenopause problem, I'm going to be the advocate for it. I'm going to write this wonderful book telling everybody about this experience that I've had, and I would hope that people who are suffering the same can have some information and know how to treat themselves. And then so after, then she started finding online resource groups. She started speaking to her mother, her family about her experiencing perimenopause. And then she does say that later she decided for her own self that she would rather not be on the HRT, which is a hormone balancing treatment, and that she would do the alternative holistic healing route, which we're going to get to later on. Some of the important pointers from Ole's story is that, number one, the reason why it took forever for her to actually know that she was suffering from perimenopause is because she was looking at the symptoms in isolation. One day she has brain fog, and then it's like, okay, I have brain fog. And then another day she has extreme fatigue. She'll be like, oh, okay, I'm tired. And then she had hot flashes. Then she'd be like, oh my God, now I'm hot. Maybe I just need to fan myself more. She never looked at the symptoms as like, okay, they're part of a collective. Let's Google them together at the same time. So looking at yourself and looking at what you're experiencing, please do look at symptoms that you might be going through as like a combination instead of isolation. So that's what she said. Her being able to put the symptoms together, to write them down, to Google them together at the same time, led her to the menopausal discovery. And then secondly, you need to learn as much as you can, because a lot of the reason why people are shy, people are fearful, people always want to be in isolation and depress themselves about their problems is lack of knowledge, number one. And then number two, not knowing where to get help and how to get help. And then another thing that she urges us to do is to get a support structure. For her, she went on Facebook and looked for people who are suffering the same. She's very, very strong on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on her talking about her journey. And there are other people there who are happy to have that similar conversation. So get a support structure. If you have a husband, get them to learn about menopause, perimenopause, early menopause together, so they know what you are going through and they will know how to help you. And also make sure that you do get diagnosed officially by a professional. You don't want to go to WebMD and start your treatment. You want to go to WebMD and it says you might be menopausal, but you want to go to an official doctor that can then give you an official diagnosis and an official plan of treatment. And make sure you have strong support. Be communicative and be open to the people that are supporting you. And if you can't, trust me, there's always people online who have the same problem as you, who are willing to go through the process with you. And I know Golly is one of those people, if you can follow her on her socials. Now, getting into some of the treatments that you can get. So the first one is HRP, which is a hormone replacement therapy. You can only get into this type of medication when you have been officially diagnosed by a professional, and this will help alleviate some of the common symptoms. They actually alleviate you from the common symptoms in like a week or 2 weeks, and then some of the stronger symptoms a couple of weeks or months. And alternative, so if you are like me, you are the Eastern chick, you never want to be on the Western medicine. Everybody that knows me knows that I would choose not to be on Western medication if I have an option, but if I don't have an option, then I will. But every chance I can, I try to use the Eastern way. So there's a medicine called St. John's wort. There's something called black cohosh and isoflavorins like red clover that are available to buy over the counter that you can use from a chemist or a health shop. Another alternative to HRT is alternative therapies like massages, acupuncture, aromatherapy that can help to alleviate some of the common symptoms. And then another alternative, exercising. So exercise is very important to anything that you're doing. So if you exercise for 30 minutes a day, moderate to intense exercise depending on what your forte is, and you exercise 5 times a week for at least 30 minutes, including yoga and stretching, this can help with alleviating some of the common symptoms. And by common symptoms, we mean the hot flashes, the night sweats, the tiredness, the low mood, the anxiety, and. So, are we done? Oh, we done. Again, very, very simply, there's 4 types of menopause: perimenopause, premenopause, menopause, postmenopause, surgical menopause. Menopause and postmenopause are the same thing. Yeah, and then you can get treatment through hormone balancing treatment, or you can get treatment with alternative medication types. And so that's it. I think that's it. Right, we're done. We're done. Well, thank you guys for watching today's episode. I hope you guys learned a lot about menopause, perimenopause, early menopause, surgical menopause. I will be linking the full interview I did with Dolly, where she gives us more information than is available on this episode. And I will link also her social so you guys can follow her, because she's very passionate about this and she's taking it into the corporate space, which will benefit all of us, because I mean, if corporate can take it seriously, it is a serious thing. Otherwise, thank you guys for joining. Do comment, do subscribe, do tell your friends. I will see you guys next week when we are talking breast cancer awareness. Thank you. Yes.